Alright, so let's get into this really quickly. Been waiting on this puzzle for a couple days. So while I'm getting into this, I'll actually tell you the story of how I came to get this, because it's been on sale in Asian stores, or more specifically stores in Hong Kong, for about 2 or 3 months, I think, something like that. Anyway, my friend Peter from Massachusetts actually used an intermediary service that went and bought the puzzle and then shipped it to him. So after a bunch of trouble, this puzzle is actually in my hands, because I ended up contacting him on the speed solving forums, or he contacted me, and then he decided to send it to me for a price, of course. He had to pay a lot for shipping, so I didn't want him to have to bear all of that burden. Wow. So that yellow is already bright. Let's see here. Now, I do know that there are going to be 2 different versions of this puzzle. One is the ultimate version, which is this, and then there's going to be a standard version, which is going to be cheaper. So I think from the stores, this one's like $19, and then the other one's going to be $12 or $13. But that's all speculation as of right now. I looked online and couldn't find much about it. So he said this is the packaging that it came in. I think this is the packaging directly from Gans, so that's pretty cool. It's got a little stand there to separate the cube from the other stuff. And you know, maybe this Ultimate Edition is just the inclusion of springs and a metal tool or something like that, but I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't find much about it that was in English, at least. So let's get into this. Oh wow, so he even put it back into plastic for me. That's pretty cool. All right, like I said, this is just a part of the packaging. So we'll leave that there. Take a look at this really quickly. Looks like a couple different sets of springs there. These look to be a little bit softer than these, but we'll take a look at that in a moment. And of course the Gans tool, because these don't use screws, right? They use washers. Oh wow, so this is brand new. I did not know that. I thought he had actually used this puzzle, but this one's brand new, so that's really cool. So 56 millimeters, that's interesting. It feels small right out of the box. I don't want to lie, it does feel a little bit small. Let's actually measure it, and that looks like 56 to me, even with the sticker. So I don't know why I insist on measuring stuff like that, but I think it's pretty cool to know exactly. And that measurement actually makes me think that this puzzle is a little smaller than 56, because I actually measured with the stickers on. You can see right here, these stickers are actually really thick. They feel like really good quality, and I really like the shades. Honestly, it looks like my shades except for the yellow. Let me get my Oolong here. All right, so here's my main puzzle on the right. As you can see, obviously the white's the same, orange is the same. The yellow, I really don't like that yellow, but that's not a big deal. The blue, it looks like they've went with like a sky blue and a fluoro green, so I really don't have to change much about this puzzle. It looks really good, but let's do some first turns. Wow. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. This puzzle feels so much more solid than this puzzle. Now this is the Gans 357, and I actually have the strengthened core in it. They came out with a core a while ago that was kind of supported. You can see the wings on the side there. It gave the puzzle a little bit more of a stable feel, and it actually improved this puzzle a lot, but it still feels kind of flimsy and super light. If you guys are familiar with the feel of the Gans, it's super light. And now with this puzzle, it feels more substantial. I don't know how to explain it really, but the plastic feels, it doesn't feel as cheap, if that makes sense, if you are familiar with Gans puzzles. Normally on these, it feels kind of like, I don't know, like a toy. You know what I mean? It feels light and airy, like it might break, but this feels really, really solid, and it's super smooth whenever you turn it like that. It's a super, super smooth feeling puzzle. Now I want to see really quickly, before we take a look at the mechanism, about corner cutting. 45. Does 45, but it takes some effort. Right there is effortless, but yeah, 45. Pretty easy, actually. Not bad. Reverse corner cutting. Wow. So at least line to line, almost a little more. And now I want to take a look at the mechanism, but I can't actually get an edge out. So we are going to see if we can take this apart. Looks like they've opted to use a plastic washer there. That kind of worries me, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so I have just taken the whole top layer off, and as you can see, this is pretty interesting. They've actually opted to go with different plastics for the pieces and for the inside. I actually read about this. Now, this is supposed to be higher quality plastic than this to keep the core performing well for a long time. And now I've seen things about springs in the pieces, but I think that's not true. I think it's just screws as far as I can see. It seems like all of the spring action will still be on the core, but let's take a look at this core. It's a little bit different. If you guys are familiar with an octopus core, it was normally all plastic, and then these studs were plastic as well, but the actual nut that went on it was metal, and it just threaded down onto the plastic. But it looks like this is a little better design, where this core is all one piece still, but these have just been inserted down into it, and now you just twist the plastic washer or plastic nut on top of that, and that's how you tension the puzzle. So I know that a few people were worried that you're going to have to tension individual pieces. That doesn't seem to be the case. It just looks like the construction of the pieces actually uses a screw, and that's where people were getting confused. So now let's see what they've changed on these two puzzles. And as you can see, the changes are pretty significant, really. It looks like that they've done away with the torpedo mechanism. I mean, obviously, it's still, it still has a torpedo. It's just this way, and it's down here, maybe. No, that's not a torpedo. Sorry, it's just playing with my eyes, the difference in color there. So it looks like the only torpedo is this one, and then it's got these small knobs that kind of extend. So this is not just a smaller version of the Gans 357. I've seen some people mention online that it's basically the same cube, just a little smaller, but that does not seem to be the case. Let's take a look at a corner. So as far as corners go, it looks like it is basically the same design. So you can see there that they've still used these pointed corners. Now, I used to really hate this design, but I noticed that it really helps with corner twisting. So I don't really mind that now. As far as the corner, it looks like about the same design, except this is two pieces. So this piece and this piece, and unless they completely alter this and split it like this one, you will not be seeing a stickerless Gans 356 anytime soon. Alright, so now I want to take a look at these springs that came with the puzzle. This is actually the one that came in it, and these two came in bags along with the Ultimate Edition, whatever that means, guys. But I assume that the Ultimate Edition means that you get the metal tool and the extra springs. So that's the assumption that I'm going to be going on, and I'm going to be working off of that. So this spring that came with it, even though it looks like the lightest spring, this one is actually the lightest right here. It's super easy to compress, and this one's a little bit harder, and this one feels to be the stiffest. So there are 3 different springs, and that's pretty cool that they've decided to do that to adjust the feel for whoever might be using this puzzle. So that happened. This puzzle's hard to put back together. It took me a little while to figure it out, but once I did, it wasn't that bad. I really like this cube. I can't see many lockups on it. Once the springs break in, I don't think corner cutting's going to be an issue on any side, honestly. People said that the corner cutting wasn't that great. I haven't seen much better, to be honest with you. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this has been a little lengthy, but people are really excited to see this puzzle, and I wanted to give an in-depth first impressions and unboxing. But judging by everything that I can see so far, this is an amazing puzzle, and I really look forward to using it for the next few days, and I'll have a review out soon, guys.